Welcome to The Right Question. I'm Daphne Gray Grant. My topic today is how to include stories in articles for peer-reviewed publications. I have a question from Tianying Wang, a research scientist based at the Mailman School of Public Health at Columbia University in New York. Here's what she's asked.
While reading your book, I have a question about step 4, especially about how to use imaginary or true story as a lead. I find it is hard to implement it in scientific writing such as papers on nature and science. Could you help illustrate how it works in scientific writing? Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Tianying. I know there's a widely held belief that stories don't belong in articles on science. As a result, not many researchers use them in their writing. But they can and they should. To me, there are two great examples of scientific writers who excelled at storytelling. Lewis Thomas, 1913 to 1993, is one. He spent his formative years as an independent researcher at the Tulane University School of Medicine. If you haven't read any of his books, I can highly recommend Lives of a Cell and Late Night Thoughts on Listening to Mahler's Ninth Symphony. Links below. Both are superbly written, and the first won 2 National Book Awards. Let me read to you the first paragraph from The Lives of a Cell. We are told that the trouble with modern man is that he has been trying to detach himself from nature. He sits at the topmost tiers of polymer, glass, and steel, dangling his pulsing legs, surveying at a distance the writhing life of the planet. In this scenario, man comes on as a stupendous lethal force, and the earth is pictured as something delicate, like rising bubbles at the surface of a country pond, or flights of fragile birds. But it is illusion to think that there's anything fragile about the life of the earth. Surely this is the toughest membrane imaginable in the universe, opaque to probability, impermeable to death. We are the delicate part, transient and vulnerable as cilia. Isn't that beautiful? The second remarkable writer I want to mention is Oliver Sacks, 1933 to 2015. Like Thomas, he was well known for his wide-ranging interests and his ability to make writing both colorful and personal. You may well have already read his 1973 book, Awakenings, link below. Now, I know you're going to say that books are different from peer-reviewed articles. And of course, you're right. But the lessons you can learn from books can be applied to articles. Here is a simple and very basic example from the May 19th, 2019 issue of the Canadian Medical Association Journal. A previously healthy girl aged 10 years presented to the pediatric dermatology clinic with a 1-week history of an itchy eruption on the hands bilaterally. She had a similar eruption 6 months earlier after playing with homemade slime made with sodium borax. On the day of the eruption, she was playing with slime that she had received from a friend. Apart from the word slime, which is fantastic, I think the writers could have jazzed this up if they'd made the writing a little bit more interesting. But they took the first step. They started with a story. Here's another example from a 2015 article in the Journal of Autism and Developmental Disorders. Public debates about autism policy are hardly unique to Canada, but they have been particularly acrimonious here, encompassing over a decade of conflict between parents of children with autism and policymakers, starting in the late 1990s. Again, I could quibble with the authors and suggest that they could have pursued a slightly more assertive storytelling agenda. But notice how they have at least tried to dip their toes into the storytelling style. Overall, any way in which you can tell a story at the beginning of the article is going to make it far more interesting for readers. Think about all the people you are studying. Further, consider the non-human characters and ideas you're considering. What are their strengths, flaws, and motivations? What obstacles do they need to overcome? Finally, let me wrap up with a quote from noted academic author Helen Sword. She's the author of Stylish Academic Writing, link below. The art of academic storytelling is a complex business. Yet it depends on a very simple principle. A good story makes people want to keep reading. Chen, there's no question that many academics shy away from storytelling. This isn't because storytelling is bad or wrong, it's simply because other people aren't doing it. Data always need to be presented in a way that's both objective and informative, but your readers will be helped if you can present it in a way that offers an engaging narrative.